To many races in the Star Trek universe, humanity, Starfleet and the Federation are all interchangeable words for the same thing. However, this is not the case, and the differences between these organisations are monumentally important for the other species to deal with one of the Alpha Quadrant's biggest political powers. Hello, Rick here, and this video is a brief overview of what the Federation actually is, along with what differentiates it from Starfleet and the government of Earth. Put simply, the United Federation of Planets is the interplanetary governmental structure that unifies and oversees all of its member planets and species. Established in the year 2161, the UFOP was an expansion of the coalition of planets that had formed to unify a handful of races in spite of Romulan efforts to destabilise the powers of the Alpha Quadrant. The coalition was signed in 2155 by the United Earth Government, the Andorians, Tellarites and the Vulcans High Command. This established an alliance between these powers and a number of other participating species such as the Denobulans, and it acted as the groundwork for what would come 6 years later. Prior to this, however, Starfleet was already an established presence on Earth, that being the Unified Space Exploration Agency incorporating multiple countries' space programs as well as entities such as the Space Probe Agency. Starfleet was led by a Starfleet Command which in turn operated exclusively under the command of the United Earth Government. With more and more effort focused towards developing interstellar travel now that warp drive had been achieved and first contact with the Vulcans had proved the existence of extraterrestrial life, the United Earth Government managed to remove poverty, pollution and many other ills that were left over from the Third World War. Early Starfleet, despite the importance placed upon it, had little in the way of an interstellar presence, relying on the Vulcans for aid and star charts, but striving to develop technologies to elevate humanity to the next level of exploration. To this end, the NX program was developed, and in 2151, 20 years after Starfleet's founding, the USS Enterprise NX-01 was launched, Earth's first Warp 5 vessel, with the goal of establishing first contact with alien races and mapping out unexplored areas of space. Despite a bumpy start, humanity continued to churn out incrementally advancing starships, the Columbia NX-02, then the NX-03 and 4 and so on. After 10 years of establishing itself, the United Earth Government and the Coalition of Planets reorganised into the United Federation of Planets. A charter was drawn up between the founding races as a guiding doctrine of exploration and defence. The human Makos, the Andorian Imperial Guard, Tellarite forces and the Vulcans military were all folded into Starfleet, giving the exploratory organisation an effective military presence. This was a necessary move due to opposing powers such as the Romulan Empire and Klingon Raiders, who in the past proved to be formidable opponents for humanity and many other races. The United Federation of Planets became the greater government of humanity, although Earth itself retained a single government that in itself was a member of the Federation, the United Earth, headed by a Prime Minister. The same autonomy was granted with all the other races that joined the Federation. Many policies that shaped the United Earth are reflected of those in the UFOP, therefore the two share many characteristics, although with humanity now having established a galactic presence, the Federation is effectively its primary governing body. Earth, as the instrumental founding race that had done much to unify Vulcans, Andorians and Tellarites, was made the capital for the Federation, further cementing the unison between the United Earth Government and the Federation. By 2373, its territory covered over 8,000 light-years and consisted of over 150 fully incorporated species and over 7,000 affiliated races. And by that I mean races who remained apart from the United Federation of Planets but were still involved in trade, politics or had substantial presence in Starfleet. The entire organisation is overseen by an elected president who answers to the Federation Council and the Federation Supreme Court. The headquarters of the Federation are located in Paris, while Starfleet Command was in San Francisco. The Federation also oversaw a huge number of institutions and agencies aside from Starfleet, ranging from scientific to agricultural and even broadcasting. Starfleet meanwhile continues to operate under the control of the Federation President, who sits above Starfleet Command, although for practical reasons the President seldom took direct control of the organisation. Starfleet's responsibilities are essentially upholding the Federation's interests and values throughout Federation space, as well as its ongoing mission to explore, chart, establish relations and represent the Federation's member species on a galactic scale. In times of crisis, Starfleet is mobilised as the Federation's primary military force, switching from peaceful pathfinding to a naval armada. This militarisation of Starfleet is often met with mixed reactions of the Federation members, many of whom hold true to its ideals of exploration. One can chart the flow of conflict in the Federation by following the technologies of Starfleet, especially in ship design, and observers will note that the more heavily armed vessels appear around the time of conflict, before sinking back into the fold during peaceful times. It's during these peaceful times when vessels such as the Galaxy class come to the fore, with a focus on diplomatic ventures. Throughout Starfleet's history, there's a definite ebb and flow of militarisation, but it says a lot that the organisation continues to return to its founding principles, knowing when to lay down its phasers and pick up the tricorder again. So, to sum up, Earth is governed by the United Earth Government, headed by the Prime Minister. The UE is a founding member of the United Federation of Planets, whose headquarters are located on Earth. Despite its local position to humanity, the Federation oversees the galactic policies of all its member races. Starfleet is the joint military and exploratory arm of the UFOP, and therefore consists of individuals of all of the Federation's member planets. Each of these three has its own governing charter, although the Federation holds sway over the other two, as its policies by nature have to operate on a much grander scale. So there you go, thanks for watching. This was the first part in a series of videos I'm going to be doing covering the Federation, and a couple of different aspects to it. So if you're a Trek fan, you may have already known a lot of this information already, but it's kind of a necessary setup for the subsequent videos, so stay tuned. Please look forward to it, and thanks again for watching. I've been Rick. Goodbye.